Well, hello, and welcome to episode 17 of our backyard garden here in the South Carolina upstate. It is Thursday evening, May 30th, 2024. Beautiful evening. It hit 80 degrees today. It's kind of partly cloudy right now, about 72 degrees. Very, very pleasant. Just an ideal time to take a walk through the garden. So we're going to start here. I was hoping to get a view of our snapdragons that are growing back against the garage. Hard to see back there with the car parked where it is, but those are still doing well. And then of course our irises down through here, they're all finished up. At the bottom of this hillside though are the cleome, and before I talk about those, I want to show this cleome that's growing up out of the concrete. So this is now the second significant flowering plant that we've got growing out of our driveway or sidewalk. I swear we have the most fertile driveway in the area around Greenville, South Carolina. And last year we had a big vinca that grew out of that all year long. Just was one of the most prolific flowering plants we had. So down here we have a daisy that's going to bloom pretty soon, probably within the next 2 or 3 weeks. But right now, our cleome are fully in bloom. Just since last week, they've come out very quickly. These are all from seed. They've all come back. We've got a whole forest of them here. Easily 3 to 4 times the number that we had last year. If you saw any of our videos last year on a different channel, they were fairly dense, but a little higher up there was nothing down in this area, and here, I mean, they're just everywhere. We have both purple and pink, 2 different varieties, and there is these are pink up in here, and we have more over in this area. These are going to be blooming before long. I've had to really keep a close eye when I'm weeding, because so many of the plants that are coming up, even down here in our stones, these are all cleome. So give us another few weeks and they're all going to be doing this as well. So we're going to have ourselves quite a little forest of cleome. These down here in the stones are getting ready to bloom pretty soon. They even managed to seed all the way over on the far side of our fire pit here. These are getting ready to bloom before too long. So this has been one of our biggest surprises. It's really come out in the past week dramatically, and so we will continue to follow that through the year. And then we work our way over here. Our knockout yellow rose is doing well. Starting to get some black spot issues, and I have seen a couple of Japanese beetles, not on this plant but on some of the others. So I'm going to get some powdered 7. That stuff works like a charm. If you have problems with Japanese beetles, that will take care of them very quickly. But unfortunately, these buds here look, I'm not an expert on this, but they look like they might have a little bit of a fungus. I'm not sure how well they're going to come out and bloom, but we'll keep an eye on them here before the next couple of weeks are up. We should know. Now here we put some bulbs in for more Asiatic and Oriental lilies back in the early spring, and they are slowly coming up. We have others that are coming up. These are fully in bloom. These started to come out in the last week or so, and now they are absolutely completely in bloom. Won't be for long. They don't have a lot of buds. They really come out like fireworks very quickly. And we have some buds on here, but probably within 2 weeks, these are going to be completely finished. The good news is we have a lot more that are just coming up now, so we should continue to get lilies blooming like down in here, well into the summer. Now coming back up here, we have a lot of things that have sort of finished up and other things that are getting ready to bloom later on, like this hydrangea. We have 4 of these. They've almost doubled in size each year that we've had them. They will bloom with big white flowers later in the summer. Our digitalis, we had several of these they're all pretty much finished now. Big tall seed pods. Last year we got lucky and they continued to put out flowers well into the summer, but this year it does not look like that's going to happen. We'll see. Now down here we got some little Johnny jump ups, little miniature pansies hanging in there, but they're probably not going to last more than another month. They don't like the hot weather. Right now we're getting into the low 80s, but by the time we're into late June we're going to be hitting 90s, and that's usually the end of the line for the pansies. But we'll continue to enjoy them for a little bit longer. And here we have a butterfly bush. If you saw our front yard video earlier, we have one with a blue flower, a more traditional one, but these magenta ones are, honestly, I don't like to pick favorites, but these are a lot prettier. And we have two of these, one right next to it. It's even more prolific. These just really came out in large numbers within the last 7 days or so. So we're really enjoying them. And then other things just kind of hanging in there. Right now, a little dwarf rose, dwarf knockout rose, and then another one down here. They're kind of in an interim phase. They will put out some more blooms. The one in the front yard is doing pretty well. Probably another couple weeks and these will start to put out some more flowers. We haven't deadheaded them or anything. We should. We just haven't gotten around to it. It's very time consuming, unfortunately. But here we have some more of these oriental lilies coming up. Some of them kind of struggling. I just noticed this one had, for some reason, the stem just sort of bent and broke. Not sure why it would do that. This one too. We haven't had a big rabbit problem. I've been spraying these to keep all the rodents away. So I'm not sure what the issue is there, but most of them are doing pretty well, fortunately. Got a clematis back here, a Giacomini, still blooming. It's hanging in there a little bit longer because of the shade. We have a big one on the front mailbox, as you may have seen on our other video. That one is done, but it's in full sun. This one is in mostly shade, which helps to preserve them a little bit longer. Let's see, what else do we have? I'm not going to spend a lot of time on things that are finished up. I mean, as I say, we've got the digitalis in here. Those are all done right now. But we'll start to focus on things that are coming out. This is the biggest change in the backyard and in the front yard. Our daylilies have really started to come out. They're not fully in bloom, but a lot of different varieties. This is one that my wife and I have been collecting daylilies for 20 some years, and we've never seen this particular color before. We got this at a daylily farm here in the Greenville area a couple years ago, and this is the first year it's really done a lot. Got another nice one down here, kind of a peach color with the ruffles. You can get some absolutely gorgeous daylilies at the usual box stores like Home Depot and Lowe's and Walmart. But if you really want the unusual stuff, the ones with the ruffles and the unusual colors, you almost have to go to either mail order greenery or a greenhouse, I should say, or to an actual daylily farm. And you can find those around most areas. Sometimes you have to drive a bit to get there, but we've got more daylilies down in here. And then our astilbe are worthy of mention because we have one that I have not really noticed before. I think we may have gotten this last year. This purple color, I have never seen it before. We have had astilbe for 20 years, and I was always of the opinion that it only had 3 colors, sort of the mid-pink there, sort of a white color that we had and it's already finished up, and then a fairly bright red color, which is also finished up over here. Well, it turns out there's a 4th color, and it's this beautiful sort of lavender pink. Kind of looks like fireworks. Also kind of looks like Patrick Star if you're a SpongeBob fan. Very pretty flower. And unfortunately, these are going to be finishing up probably in another couple of weeks. Great shade plant. They do very well with very little maintenance, and they just keep growing and spreading. So if you've got an area like this where you don't really have a lot else going on, these are really ideal. Some more pink ones down here. And then we finish up with our hostas, which will start to bloom probably before too long. And also our one wisteria back here in the woods. Thought that one was going to die last year. It's come back. Not sure what it's going to do over the next year. It didn't bloom this year, but I think next year it probably will. Here, what looks like weeds are actually black-eyed Susan. We've let them grow over here in the mulch. We've had most of them over in our terraced area, but they've spread via seed over in here. We thought, let's just let them go and see what happens. Another wisteria here. This one's done very well. Did bloom nicely this year. Got all kinds of things growing along our fence here, mostly climbing roses. And so we have our azaleas, more daylilies back in here. Not quite ready, most of them at least not to bloom, but we have one that's doing really well right here. That's also a hybrid that came from a farm. And then our lamb's ear, which continues to spread slowly. We got somebody gave it to us a few years ago. This is the first year that we've gotten flowers off of it. And it gave us these little stalks of very, very, what I want to say, pale lavender flowers. Nothing dramatic, but it's a very interesting little plant. And it's just like the leaves. It's very soft. It feels like a sheep's wool. And over in here we have more daylilies. A lot of the ones we have the ruffles on them. Beautiful, beautiful colors. Peach color. Again, not a typical one that you see at the box stores. Usually you have to order those. We got daisies over in here, starting to bloom. They always fall over. They outgrow their ability to stand up, and invariably, unless we tie them up to a stick, they just fall right over. Got some more lilies here, or oriental lilies. This beautiful dark magenta color. They are going to finish up probably in another couple of days. There's not much left with these, but we have some other colors in this area that'll take their place. Our big knockout rose, the blood red one. This is our biggest knockout rose in the garden. If you've been watching these videos, this is the one that the deer ate about half of. So all this growth in the front is all new growth, and it was prolific. As of just a couple weeks ago, it was covered with the red blooms, and now they're done, and the top part is coming back again. This one regenerates very, very quickly, and as you can see up through here, buds like crazy. So it's going to continue to give us a lot of color, really all through the summer. We've got another daisy here, doing well, getting ready to bloom probably in another 3-4 weeks, I would say. And then our climbing rose. This is about the quietest that this has been all year since it started to bloom, and it'll start to bloom again very soon. It has these little pink flowers on it. We have several of these, and every one of them has just gone crazy, kind of taken over wherever they're planted. Really made a big presence up on top of the trellis. And then actually, before I come over this way, I'll come back over here real quickly, because I can still smell a little bit of jasmine. Most of the jasmine flowers are done. This area was like a solid wall of little white flowers, but they're pretty much done. We still have a few over in here, and that's where I'm getting the scent. And then there are a few over on this side. I'm not sure why the difference. The wall is now over here, and we're going to show that in a couple of minutes when we come back around. Over here we've got one of our favorite roses. It puts out absolutely beautiful flowers, very fragrant, and it's very tall. It's about a good 6 feet in height. Nice climber. It's covered with buds. Tends to struggle with black spot. The lower canes are pretty much bare right now, and even these have a lot of black spot, and yet despite that, it keeps putting out flowers all summer long. Gotta love it. We've got another one over in here. It's kind of the same thing. It's not a climber, but it gives us these little pink roses, and it continues to bloom really throughout the year. We've got a coral colored one over here, more of a tea rose. You can see a lot of buds, so we're going to continue to get color there. And another tea rose here, the yellow one. Not as prolific, but it's a nice contrast of color. And speaking of contrast, we've got the Veronica, these tall stalks of purple. The bumblebees love these. At any given time, you can find at least a few bumblebees flying around in there. And we've got some little short zinnias down in here that we had bought. Some what we call Sweet William, a type of dianthus back in here. Another type of dianthus over this way. And I'm saving what I consider to be the best for last. I love these calla lilies. This has really grown to be one of my favorite flowers in the entire garden. We have multiple colors of them. I bought quite a few last year. They've all come back, some more than others, but this is the oldest one that we've had. It has these pale pink blooms. They kind of look like Easter lilies, but they just are doing wonderfully. And then another one over here. I believe this one was yellow when it finally blooms. And then back in this area against the fence, we have the jasmine, clematis, roses, all kinds of stuff. And we're going to see that from the other angles shortly. We have another butterfly bush here, giving you these gorgeous purple stalks or spikes of flowers. And then come on over this way. This is an area that has not done terribly well. We kind of refer to this as the dead zone. But we have a few things that have done okay here. The little ice plant, as I call it, and this wisteria, which almost didn't make it last year, but it has come back. Didn't bloom this year, but I think next year it will. It looks like it's doing really well. We've got one dahlia that's typically done pretty well here. And interestingly, I'm just seeing this now, this week. We had a big knockout rose. Actually, we had 3 big knockout roses, a white one, a red one, and a pink one in this area last year. The deer came through and ate them right down to the roots. No trace, except now, just in the last week, I'm seeing this one come up, and it looks like it may even have a little tiny bud on it. So we're going to watch that and see what it does. It would be interesting to see if we got a little bit of a resurgence of that. And then our clematis over here growing up onto the fence, largely finished at this point. And then we have gladiolus. These are older. These have been in for a few years. They don't usually give us a lot of flowers at this point. Each year they do a little bit less, but this one is fully ready to pop out within the next few days. We've learned a lesson about, and this one too, nice red one, when it is ready. They're great for cutting. The problem is when you bring them in, they frequently have ants on them. That's a problem. So beware. If you bring them inside, you may want to spray them with ant spray to kind of protect the inside of your house. Now over here, this is a tropical plant that someone gave us. It looks like it should be in the Amazon jungle. Gives us some beautiful pink flowers later in the year, and it's not quite there yet, but it will be before too long. Some more glads that we just put in this year, and they should give us some nice flowers before too long. And then we'll come back over here through the weeds. This area has really taken off with weeds. We've got our wisteria, which is finished up, and our canna, which has really been kind of a disappointment. I've talked about that before. they're very invasive. They haven't really done a lot in our yard. Oh, I just walked past this and just showing off the one wisteria that is still in bloom. Thought those were done. It's kind of nice to still see a little touch of March and April, even though we're only a couple days away from June. But these Hannah don't really do a lot for us. We have them in poor soil, which doesn't help anything. I haven't wanted to get them into fertile soil because I was afraid they would just take off and overrun the rest of the garden. And so I'm trying to keep them at bay, but these things do grow huge leaves. They have a tendency, I think they have some sort of, maybe it's an insect infestation. They get these little, almost like a spider webs on them that allow, or I should say prevent them from opening up. And I don't know why that is. We've seen that frequently with these. And it keeps both the leaves and the flowers from opening up. It's very strange. And I don't know a whole lot about these. It's probably, again, some insect or parasite infestation, but not, I guess I'm not a big enough fan of these to try to figure that out. Now here, this is what we saw on the other side of the fence about 3 weeks ago, the wall of jasmine. It smells absolutely wonderful down in here. These little tiny white flowers, you can see close up, the 5 petals, and then some random clematis growing up through them. And we have about 5 different colors of clematis: blue, purple, pink, white, and some variegated patterns that you'll see at different times. I have another climbing pink rose over here. It's kind of in between. It doesn't have a lot of blooms on it right now, but if you look closely, you'll see all the buds. So this thing is set to pop in another week or so. So probably by next week, we're going to be seeing a lot of color back over on that side. Over in here, daylilies, we have a lot of those. Just the standard wild orange daylilies, and then black-eyed Susans. And those are growing even down into the stones here, even some iris growing down into the stones. So we have fertile stones and fertile driveway, and a few weeds as well, of course. And then we have over on this side of the terrace, more black-eyed Susan, more daylilies all through here. So this area is going to give us a lot of nice color later in the summer and into early fall even. Black-eyed Susans usually continue to go well into September. So that's it for this area. We're going to come on up and finish near the house, and we'll be done for another week. Here we have some more Veronica doing very well. We just put these in last year, and they are almost as big as the ones down in the lower part of the garden that have been in for quite a while. Now my wife did a lot of deadheading and weeding in this part of the garden, so it looks a lot better right now than it did last week. But we've got a lot of different stuff here. Irises, of course, all finished up, and we've got some strawberries down in here. We don't really eat them, but they're fun to watch. And then big daylilies starting to open up. Quite a few different types. Some of these very small, some of them a little bit larger. We're going to see more in a minute. Big calla lily here, just a plain white one, and a pretty big plant. We've got a separate one down here that I bought last year. It's a little smaller, hasn't started to bloom yet, but this one is on the verge of blooming. Bright yellow flower. Not sure if there's going to be more than one, but it's going to look good either way. Big daylily here, nice ruffled pattern. We've got our lilacs, hostas. Hostas are getting ready to start to bloom before too long. And then more varieties of daylilies here with the deep red with the yellow throat, peach color, little darker peach color, and you can see buds everywhere. So we're going to be getting a lot more color before long. Another one here with a lot of ruffles on it. Another calla lily here. It's sort of a deeper purple. A rose over here. We just missed this one. Actually, this one never really fully opened up, unfortunately. It's got another bud here. Hopefully we'll get that one to open up. Got a little tea rose back in here. It's been kind of taken over by the larger climbing rose with the little pink blooms. This is one that's, again, kind of in between, but before long, it's going to have a lot more buds on it. So we'll be continuing to see color on that all through the summer. Another calla lily here, sort of a very light pink color. We have some oriental lilies in this area. They're just about finishing up. This is another one where they don't do so well with gravity. They get very top heavy, and then they tend to fall over. But they're no less beautiful as a result. Then we have the deep orange and yellow calla lilies here with a nice spotted pattern on the leaves. Beautiful, beautiful plant. Another Asiatic lily over here. Gonna start blooming before too long, and then a coreopsis in this area, and that brings us back to the front. So I should say we've got another hosta back in this area that's about to start to bloom very soon as well. Now, something that should start to come up pretty soon, I'm not seeing any evidence of it yet, although I haven't looked that closely, but we typically start to get a lot of tomato plants coming up from seed. We leave most of our cherry tomatoes and grape tomatoes here for just reseeding, and they probably will start to come up very soon. It's not unusual for us to have, a few hundred. We only bought 2 plants about 3 years ago, and they've just absolutely gone crazy. Another, I just saw this, another calla lily back in here. We have about 10 between the upper and lower garden. So here we are back to the clematis forest, and so it's time to wrap things up for this week. Hope you enjoyed our display and all the changes that have come out since last week. As I always say, I hope it's sunny wherever you are, and until next week, happy gardening.